You ever get that look from a woman, the one where her body is still but her eyes are burning, where she's quiet, too quiet, and you can tell something deeper, darker, is stirring behind that perfectly arched brow? That's not just attraction, that's not even desire. That is a fantasy waiting to be triggered. Now here's the catch. Most men never go there. They play it safe, they stay polite, they ask for permission and wonder why she's never fully present in the bedroom or in love. She'll be yours in ways even she won't be able to explain. Oh, and before we continue, I've got something special for you. A free ebook, The Female Mind Control Handbook. It reveals the hidden secrets to making any woman crave you. Grab it now, link in the description or pinned comment. Let's start. Number 1. The Take Control Trigger. Why she secretly craves to be owned by a man who never asks. Here's what no woman will say out loud. I want a man who doesn't ask if I'm ready. I want a man who knows. That's not disrespect. That's confidence. That's emotional dominance. The kind she pretends to hate but aches for in silence. You ever notice how women devour books like 50 Shades of Grey? Why the bad boy trope never dies? Why the quiet, brooding man always wins her attention, even if he says little? It's because he represents something she craves but can't control. Not abuse, not arrogance, but authority, presence, command. She wants to feel overpowered by a man who is completely in control of himself. That's the paradox. The fantasy isn't about being pushed around, it's about surrendering without fear. And a high-value man understands that surrender is only possible when she trusts your leadership. So how do you activate this dark fantasy? You do it by being the man who never needs to raise his voice to get her attention. You walk in the room and she feels you before you say a word. You look at her, just one look, and her breath catches. You reach for her hand, not to ask, but to lead. That's the trigger. It's certainty. Number 2. The Forbidden Protector Fantasy. She craves to be rescued but never says it. She'll tell the world she doesn't need saving. She's independent, fierce, in control. She's built her walls. She's proud of them, but deep inside, she wants to be caught. Not by someone soft. Not by someone who'll fall apart when she breaks down, but by a man who sees through her armor and calmly says, I've got you. This isn't about playing the hero. It's about becoming her sanctuary, the one place she can stop pretending. Because here's her secret. She may run the world by day, but when she's with you, she wants to collapse into your strength and feel safe being fragile. Triggering this fantasy isn't about dramatic gestures. It's about subtle moments that whisper, you don't have to do everything alone anymore. Hold her gaze when she's spiraling. Guide her into silence when her head won't stop spinning. Stand there unshaken when she pushes, because she wants to know you won't leave. The more stoic you become, the more her emotional storms begin to orbit you, not destroy you. And once she feels that, she'll start showing you every part she hides from the world. Number 3. The Masquerade Fantasy. Here is something most men never realize. Every woman wears a mask, not in a deceptive way, but as a natural part of how she moves through the world. It is a social mask, carefully crafted through years of experience, designed to protect her vulnerabilities and present the version of herself that she believes the world will accept. When she steps out into her day, she wears this mask. It could be the confident professional, the light-hearted flirt, the aloof beauty. Whatever the mask may be, it serves a purpose to shield her from judgment, rejection, and at times her own deeper insecurities. Now here is where the dynamic becomes interesting. Most men interact only with this mask. They compliment it, they validate it, they play into it without ever truly seeing the woman beneath. And because of this, they never touch her deeper emotions. But the man who understands the masquerade fantasy plays an entirely different game. He does not directly challenge the mask, nor does he naively accept it. Instead, he sees through it with calm, grounded presence. His gaze says, "I see you, the real you, and I do not need you to pretend." And this is intoxicating. Because when a woman senses that you can perceive the parts of her that she keeps hidden, her softness, her fears, her desires, and yet you remain unbothered, non-judgmental, that is when her walls begin to crumble. This is not about calling her out or analyzing her. That would only trigger more defense. It is about quiet understanding. It is about presence. It is about offering her the rare experience of being seen without needing to explain or justify herself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Look beneath the surface. Let not the mere appearance mislead you." And this principle applies perfectly here. When you embody Stoic calm and depth, you naturally see beyond appearances. You engage with her essence, not her performance. Let me give you an example. I once coached a client, David, who struggled with surface-level interactions. He would meet women, compliment their looks or achievements, but always felt a lack of true connection. When we worked on deepening his presence, slowing his speech, softening his gaze, listening between her words, everything shifted. At one dinner, the woman he was seeing paused and said, "I feel like you actually see me. No one usually does." That moment changed the dynamic completely. It was no longer a casual date. It was an emotional invitation, one that she initiated simply because David was no longer interacting with the mask. And here is the subtle power of the masquerade fantasy. You do not need to say anything direct. You do not need to game her or run techniques. You simply embody the presence of a man who sees beyond the surface and is comfortable there. Women crave this. In a world where they constantly feel the need to perform, to appear a certain way, the man who invites them to drop the act without pressure creates a unique space of emotional intimacy. And once she feels that with you, it becomes addictive. Now some men hear this and think they must work hard to figure her out. That is just another form of chasing. The key is not effort, but being. The more grounded you are in your own frame, the more sensitive you become to subtle cues, body language, tone, shifts in energy. You begin to intuit what lies beneath, and women feel this. And here is the paradox. The less you chase her real self, the more she offers it. The man who needs nothing, who observes calmly, becomes the safest space for her truth to emerge. So ask yourself, are you the man who sees beyond the mask, or the one still caught by it? If this speaks to you, type in the comments, "I see through the mask." And stay with me, what comes next will take this power even deeper. Number 4. The controlled chaos fantasy. There is a side of the feminine that often goes unnoticed by men, a side that longs for freedom, not freedom in the political sense, but emotional freedom. The freedom to lose control, to feel deeply, to express wildly, and to do so in the presence of a man strong enough to hold it all. This is what I call the controlled chaos fantasy, and it runs deeper than most men understand. You see, women move through the world constantly managing themselves. Their words, their tone, their body language, all calibrated to maintain a sense of order and propriety. In public, in professional settings, even sometimes in relationships, they are the ones keeping everything together. But beneath that surface is a craving, a desire to let go, to release that control, to surrender not in weakness but in trust. And here is the key. That release can only happen in the presence of a man who embodies true stability, a man who does not get rattled, who does not overreact, who remains grounded no matter how chaotic the moment becomes. Think about this. If you are reactive, easily triggered, or insecure, She will never fully trust you with her deeper emotions. She may play along on the surface, but that raw, passionate side of her will remain locked away. Why? Because it does not feel safe to be released. On the other hand, the man who carries calm, masculine strength, who stays present even when she tests him emotionally, creates an unspoken invitation. He communicates, "I can handle your storm. I will not flinch. I will not try to control you, and I will not crumble under your intensity." This is incredibly attractive on a primal level because it allows her to access a part of herself that few men ever see. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is the Stoic frame in action. When you embody this mindset, her emotional waves do not disturb your inner calm. You become the rock in the storm, the man she can lose herself with because she knows you will not lose yourself. A client of mine, Eric, once shared how this transformed his dating life. Early on, he would get thrown off when a woman became emotional or intense. He would try to fix her feelings, or worse, withdraw out of discomfort. But once he learned to stay centered, to simply be present and unshaken, everything shifted. One woman even told him, "It is like I can finally breathe around you." That is the controlled chaos fantasy. It is not about controlling her. It is about being so solid in yourself that she feels safe enough to let go. And this does not only apply to big emotional moments. It can be as simple as how you respond when she playfully tests you, when she flirts with mischief, when she brings unpredictable energy. Do you tense up? Do you become reactive? Or do you smile, hold your ground, and invite her deeper into that dance? The man who can lead in these moments with calm authority, with playful confidence, awakens a part of her that is rarely touched. And this is where deep attraction lives. So how do you cultivate this? First, master your own emotions. Through Stoic practice, daily reflection, meditation, clarity of purpose. Second, detach from outcome. When you no longer need her to behave a certain way, you free yourself from reactive patterns. Third, lead, not through force, but through presence. Let your calm be the anchor she unconsciously seeks. Remember, in a world of men chasing validation, the one who offers grounding becomes unforgettable. If this speaks to you, type in the comments, "I am the calm in her storm." And stay with me, what comes next will take this to an even deeper level. Number 5. The silent obsession fantasy. There is a certain magic in silence, but not just any silence. It is the silence of a man who knows his worth, who walks away without neediness, and whose calm absence says more than 1,000 words. This is what we call the silent obsession fantasy. Most men think they must do more to capture a woman's attention. More texts, more compliments, more plans. But often it is in doing less, and doing it from a place of strength, that true desire is stirred. Let me explain. When a woman meets a man with real masculine presence, she feels something different. He is not chasing. He is not over-explaining. He is simply present, and then without apology or need for reassurance, he disappears for a time. No long explanations, no emotional flurry, just calm space, and that space speaks volumes. Because in that space her mind begins to wander, to question, to wonder why she has not heard from him. What is he thinking? Has he lost interest? Does he still want her? You see, this is where obsession is born, not in constant presence, but in intentional absence. Stoic philosophy reminds us of this power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do." When a man truly lives this, when he lets go of needing her response, he radiates unshakable calm. And that calm is intoxicating. One of my clients, Daniel, once struggled deeply with this dynamic. He met a woman he liked, and after a few great dates began texting her often. At first she responded eagerly, but soon her energy faded. The more he chased, the less she engaged. Together, we shifted his frame. Instead of filling the space, Daniel embraced it. He would send one message, intentional light, then disappear into his own life. Gym, business, hobbies, friendships, no emotional chasing. And what happened? Within 2 weeks, she was initiating. Her texts became longer, more playful. She started asking when he was free. Why? Because his silence had created a vacuum, a space where her own curiosity and longing could grow. This is the core of the silent obsession fantasy. When you detach from outcome and let space work in your favor, you give her the gift of wondering about you, of replaying moments, of building emotional momentum. But here is the key. Your silence must be grounded, not reactive. It cannot come from anger or fear. It must come from fullness, from a life already rich without her. When you are content in your own purpose, your silence becomes magnetic, not forced, natural. Epictetus said freedom is the only worthy goal in life. And freedom is exactly what the silent obsession fantasy is built upon. Freedom from needing a certain response, freedom from chasing, freedom from the trap of constant validation. Women sense this energy. They are drawn to men who can walk away calmly without drama, because it signals strength, it signals options, it signals a man who cannot be controlled. And make no mistake, this does not push women away, it draws them in deeper. The man who is always available, always explaining, always seeking approval, he becomes predictable. But the man who vanishes with quiet confidence becomes a mystery she longs to solve. So how do you cultivate this? First, detach your sense of worth from her response. No woman defines you. Second, fill your life with purpose. When you are truly engaged in meaningful pursuits, silence comes naturally. Third, trust that space creates attraction. Resist the urge to fill every gap with words or attention. Remember, in a world where most men chase endlessly the man who can step away without a word, he is the one who lingers in her mind. If this resonates with you, type in the comments, "My silence is my power." And do not go anywhere. What we cover next will elevate your presence even more. Number 6. The glance that says more than words. There is a reason why some men can enter a room, say nothing, and yet capture every woman's attention. It is not about looks. It is not about status. It is about energy. And often that energy is conveyed in a single glance. The glance that says more than words. Most men underestimate the power of eye contact. They either avoid it out of nervousness or overdo it in an attempt to look confident. But true masculine presence lives somewhere else, in the subtle glance that speaks volumes without trying. You see, when you lock eyes with a woman in the right way, you trigger something primal, a part of her that is wired to respond to signals of strength, depth, and grounded confidence. It is not about staring. It is not about playing a game. It is about being fully present with yourself first, and then with her. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up, if thou wilt always look there." When you cultivate that inner strength, it naturally radiates outward, and it is most powerfully conveyed through your eyes. A man grounded in his purpose, living with stoic calm, communicates his depth in a single glance. That is why so often less is more. The words matter far less than the energy behind them. I once worked with a client, Mark, who struggled with this. On dates, he would talk too much, trying to impress or fill the silence. The result? He seemed nervous, uncertain. When we shifted his focus, getting him to slow down, to breathe, to simply meet her gaze with quiet confidence, everything changed. On one particular evening, he met a woman at a rooftop bar. Instead of the usual chatter, he simply looked at her calm and present. No agenda, no rush, and she felt it. Within minutes, the conversation deepened. Her tone softened, her eyes lingered. She later told him, "You look at me like you really see me." That is the glance that says more than words. It is about holding space, allowing the moment to breathe, not needing to impress because your very presence already does. And here is why this works so powerfully. In today's world, most men are in their heads, anxious, distracted, caught in thoughts. But when a man drops into his body, into the present, into the moment, and meets her eyes with calm depth, it stands out. It awakens something inside her, a curiosity, a pull. She begins to wonder, who is this man who can meet me like this? Who is this man who does not rush, who does not seek approval? And in that space, desire begins to grow. Epictetus taught, "Practice yourself for heaven's sake in little things, and thence proceed to greater." Eye contact is one of those little things that, when mastered, opens great doors. But it must be genuine. You cannot fake this glance. It comes only from inner work, from building your own sense of worth independent of her response, from knowing who you are, from living your purpose. When that is in place, your glance naturally holds power. And when you can look at a woman calm, steady, unhurried, and simply let her feel your presence, you give her a rare gift. The experience of being truly seen, not as a performance, not as a role, but as a woman. And trust me, once she feels that, it lingers. So the next time you are with her, slow down, breathe. Let your eyes do what no words can, and you will see sometimes the glance says it all. If you are ready to master this, type in the comments, "My eyes speak for me." And stay tuned, because what comes next will take your presence to a whole new level. Number 7. The tone that melts her defenses. You might not realize this, but the way you speak, not just what you say, plays a massive role in how a woman feels around you. It is not the words alone that reach her. It is the tone beneath those words. The energy you convey when you speak can either make her tense or allow her to soften. This is what I call the tone that melts her defenses. Think about it. Every day women move through a world that often forces them to stay on guard. Whether at work, in public, or even online, they are constantly evaluating, protecting, filtering. Most men talk at them with nervous energy, fast speech, or forced confidence. And what does that do? It makes her feel even more guarded. But the man who speaks from a place of calm, grounded presence, with a slow, measured tone that carries warmth and strength, creates an entirely different effect. His voice becomes an invitation for her to relax, to exhale, to let her guard down. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When your tone reflects that inner calm, women feel it instinctively. Your voice is no longer noise. It becomes a soothing undercurrent that draws her in. One client of mine, Alex, had this breakthrough. He used to speak quickly on dates, trying to fill silences, trying to impress. The result? Women often seemed polite, but distant. When we worked on slowing his speech, adding pauses, and letting his tone carry depth and steadiness, everything shifted. On one particular date, the woman leaned in and said, "I do not know what it is about your voice, but it is calming." That is the impact. It is not about having a naturally deep voice or sounding like someone else. It is about letting your voice reflect your own inner peace. When you do this, it signals several things. First, that you are in no rush, a powerful sign of value. Second, that you are emotionally steady, which makes her feel safe. And third, that you are comfortable with tension and space which stirs attraction. The Stoic man does not speak to prove himself. He speaks to express, to connect, and sometimes he lets silence carry the rest. A practical example. Next time you are with a woman, notice your pace. Are you rushing? Are you filling every gap? Instead, slow down. Drop into your breath. Lower your tone slightly, not to fake it but to reflect calm. Let pauses happen, and watch her body language shift. She may lean in. Her breathing may slow. Her voice may soften in response. This is not manipulation. It is leadership, creating a space where she can lower her armor. And here is the truth. When you master this, your words will matter even more, because your tone gives them weight. Without the right tone, even the best compliments fall flat. But with the right tone, even a simple, "It is good to see you," can make her melt. So cultivate this. Through Stoic practice, calming your mind, steadying your emotions, finding that inner stillness, your tone will naturally shift. And when it does, women will feel it often before they even register what you are saying. Now I am curious. Have you noticed how a man's tone can completely change a room? Share below. I have felt this shift. And if you think this is powerful, just wait what we are about to cover. Next, we'll show you how to take your presence even deeper. Number 8. The playful tease she secretly craves. Here is a truth many men overlook. Women are drawn to men who can create tension. Not just sexual tension, but playful light tension that dances between seriousness and fun. The kind of teasing that sparks her curiosity and draws her in without ever feeling forced. This is the playful tease she secretly craves. Why? Because beneath the surface, most women live in a world of politeness, routine conversations, and predictable interactions. They meet men who either try too hard to please or who stay safe and bland. Rarely do they encounter a man who can challenge them with warmth, with wit, with timing. A man who can tease well signals something deeper. He is comfortable with himself. He is not walking on eggshells. He does not fear rejection. And he brings a spark into the interaction, one that invites her to engage, to respond, to lean in. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And when your thoughts are light, playful, full of quiet confidence that naturally comes through in your teasing. The key is this: playful teasing is not about being mean. It is not about putting her down. It is about noticing her habits, her quirks, her contradictions, and playfully bringing them to light in a way that makes her smile and feel seen. For example, one client of mine, Leo, used to be overly serious on dates. Conversations would stay flat, safe, polite. When we worked on adding playful tease, like noticing when a woman nervously adjusted her hair and lightly saying, "Is that the third time you have done that in 5 minutes?" Suddenly everything changed. The energy shifted. The woman laughed. The walls came down. The conversation became more dynamic, more real, and most importantly, more fun. Women crave this fun. It allows them to step out of their head and into the moment. It creates emotional highs, and those highs create deeper memories. But the art is subtle. The best teasing comes from observing her, from being present, from reading her responses. You do not use canned lines or try too hard. You flow with what is naturally there. And here is where your Stoic mindset serves you. A Stoic man is grounded. He is not reactive. He does not tease to get a reaction. He teases because it reflects his lightness, his joy in the moment. He holds no attachment to how she responds, and that ironically makes the tease more powerful. When you can do this, when you can bring playful tension without losing your calm, you become rare. Most men either lack the confidence to tease or go too far and seem insecure. But the man who knows this balance holds her attention effortlessly. Next time you are with a woman, try this. Listen more closely. Watch her body language. When you notice a subtle pattern, maybe how she laughs, maybe how she orders her drink, maybe how she talks about her day. Smile, lean in slightly and playfully call it out. Not with force, not with sarcasm, with warmth, with curiosity. And then hold the moment. Let her react. Give space for the tension to breathe. She will lean into that space. She will play back. And this back and forth dynamic builds attraction faster than any rehearsed conversation. Because here is what many forget: attraction is emotional. It is not about facts. It is about how you make her feel. And when you bring light tension, you make her feel alive. So develop this skill through presence, through observation, through playful confidence. Now, let me ask you, have you ever had a moment where one playful tease shifted the entire energy? Type it in the comments. I have seen this power. And get ready. What you will learn next can take this dynamic to a level most men never reach. Number 9. The subtle dominance in your silence. One of the greatest powers a man can cultivate is the ability to stay silent and still own the room. It is not about withholding or playing a game. It is about exuding a quiet dominance that speaks louder than words. Most men today misunderstand silence. They fear it. They rush to fill every pause, every gap in conversation. They believe that if they are not constantly talking, constantly engaging, they will lose a woman's interest. But here is the truth. The most magnetic men are those who can hold silence with calm confidence. This is the subtle dominance in your silence. Think about the men you admire. Do they scramble to fill every moment with words? Or do they carry themselves with ease, speaking when needed, but never needing to over-explain? A Stoic man understands this. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are calm, confident-centered, your silence reflects that. It is not a silence of awkwardness or insecurity. It is a silence of grounded presence. I once coached a client named Thomas. He was successful in business, but in dating he struggled. He would go on a date and feel the urge to fill every quiet moment. The result? He often seemed nervous and the interaction lacked polarity. We worked on shifting this. I had Thomas practice embracing silence in daily life, during meetings, during small talk, even when ordering coffee. Over time, he learned to slow down, to breathe, to hold space. The next time he went on a date, the energy was completely different. After telling a story, he leaned back, made calm eye contact, and simply allowed a pause. Instead of jumping in, he waited. The woman looked at him longer, leaned in closer, and began revealing more about herself. Later, she told him, "You are one of the few men I have met who can just be." That is the power of subtle dominance through silence. It communicates many things. First, that you are comfortable with tension, a highly attractive trait. Second, that you are not seeking approval, which signals value. Third, that you lead the pace of the interaction, inviting her to respond rather than forcing connection. When you fill every gap with words, you remove space for her imagination. But when you let moments breathe, you give her the chance to feel curiosity, to lean in emotionally, and that builds far deeper attraction. Stoicism teaches us to embrace discomfort, to be still when others are restless. When you practice this, your energy changes. You no longer feel the need to perform or prove. You trust your presence, and women feel this often before you even speak. In a noisy world full of insecure chatter, the man who can sit in silence with steady eye contact and a calm presence instantly stands out. Here is a simple exercise. Next time you are with a woman, notice the urge to talk. When it comes, breathe. Smile gently. Hold her gaze. Let her feel your calm. Do this again and again, and soon your silence will say far more than words ever could. And remember, this is not about being cold. It is about presence. When your energy says, I am enough, as I am, it creates an irresistible pull. Now tell me, have you ever been in the presence of someone whose calm silence made everyone lean in? If so, drop in the comments, I know this power. And keep watching. The next insight will show you how to elevate this even further in ways most men never realize. Number 10. The unspoken invitation she cannot resist. Sometimes the most powerful invitation is the one that is never spoken. In a world full of noise and constant communication, what stands out most is subtlety. The glance, the tone, the body language, these unspoken cues create an invitation far more powerful than words ever could. And this is something many men never understand. They chase with overt compliments. They try too hard to impress with grand gestures. But the truth is, the deepest attraction often begins in what is left unsaid. This is what we call the unspoken invitation she cannot resist. Now, what does this really mean? It is not about being mysterious for the sake of being mysterious. It is about cultivating an energy, an unshakable presence that naturally invites her in, without pressure, without neediness, without over-explaining. A Stoic man embodies this fully. He understands that presence speaks louder than any scripted line. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In the same way, the best way to attract is to be unlike all the other men she meets, calm, grounded, present. And that is felt in your energy long before it is heard in your words. I once coached a client, David, who was frustrated. He was constantly trying to show women he was a good man, buying gifts, offering help, texting often. And yet nothing stuck. Women would respond politely but soon lose interest. We worked on shifting this pattern. Instead of chasing or explaining his worth, he began focusing on building his life, his purpose, his passions, his inner peace. When he did interact with women, he spoke less but with greater intention. He stopped seeking reactions and simply allowed his presence to speak for him. What happened was remarkable. One woman he had known casually began to lean in, both physically and emotionally. She started initiating contact, not because he had done something grand, but because she felt that unspoken invitation in his presence, that subtle pull that said, I am whole, and if you want to step into this space, you are welcome. This is the key. The unspoken invitation is not about seduction in the traditional sense. It is about creating a space emotionally, mentally, and energetically where she feels drawn in, where curiosity and desire begin to grow on their own. And here is why this is so powerful. Women are deeply intuitive. They pick up on subtle cues, your body language, your tone, the steadiness of your gaze. If you are grounded and at peace within yourself, that is felt. If you are chasing or forcing, that is also felt. The Stoic man knows this. He trusts the process. He does not rush. He does not seek to control. He allows space to do its work. And here is something many forget. Space is where attraction grows. When you constantly fill the space with texts, with words, with over-eagerness, you leave no room for her to feel that pull. But when you leave room through your silence, your calm, your centered energy, she begins to lean in, to wonder, to desire more. One powerful way to embody this is through your body language. When you are with her, lean back slightly. Keep your movements slow, intentional. Hold eye contact when needed, and do not be afraid of pauses. These small cues create an atmosphere of intrigue, an unspoken invitation. Also, cultivate your own life. When you have purpose and fulfillment outside of her, your energy naturally shifts. You no longer need her to complete you, and that paradoxically makes you far more magnetic. Remember, attraction is about how you make her feel, not just through words, but through the space you create. So here is my challenge to you. In your next interaction, say less, listen more. Let your energy and presence do the talking. Watch what happens when you stop chasing and start inviting without words. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed a moment when a woman responded more to your energy than your words? Share below. I have seen this work. And if you think this was powerful, wait until you see how mastering this one subtle dynamic can transform every interaction you have moving forward. And that wraps up today's video. If you have made it this far, it tells me one thing. You are serious about mastering your presence and understanding the subtle dynamics that truly captivate women. If you found value here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you never miss a single insight that could give you the edge. And if you are ready to take this even further, with advanced Stoic principles and deeper conversations, come join our private Stoic community. It is where men like you are sharpening their mindset and transforming their relationships every single day. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, your focus, and your drive to become the strongest version of yourself. I will see you right here tomorrow.